I've been calling my crush honey for 3 days straight. Day 1, he replied, wrong text or wrong person. Day 2, this feels weird. Day 3, alright, see you tomorrow night, be good. On the 4th day, I stopped calling him honey because I saw him with a female coworker hugging him closely. Heartbroken, I went drinking in another guy's arms. Outside the bar, Peter showed up looking grumpy, holding groceries. Weren't you waiting at home with the kid? How many good husbands do you have? Honey, are you off work yet? I read online you should be direct when chasing a guy. Break the ice, as they say. I've been after Peter for months, but we've been stuck in the polite zone. So I took a leap and started calling him honey. Sure enough, the old school guy shot back with a question mark. Wrong text or wrong person? I doubled down, nope, it's you, lucky human favored by the goddess of fortune. Anyway, he's my future husband, might as well get used to it. Peter's a surgeon, cold hands, even colder heart. He doesn't get this abstract online flirting stuff, just wrinkles his pretty brows. I called him honey all day, and he still insisted I change it. So, I sent him a 52 yuan red envelope. I'm buying the term, no objections. Waited long. He replied with a transfer, amuse yourself, I'm working late today. Not rejecting means agreeing, right? I was grinning at my phone like a fool. I pushed it, honey, work is hard, thanks for doing so much for us. I joked about him working for me and the kid at home. He finally replied, kid? I said, I have a dog named Susan. He sent a 666 yuan transfer, get something for the kid too. By day 3, Peter was probably used to it, or at least desensitized. No resistance. Free tonight? How about tomorrow? Peter's schedule's packed, planning takes weeks, and even then, the hospital might call mid-movie. Persistence pays, though. Finally replied during lunch, free tomorrow night. I jumped up from my desk. Speed typed, great, what's the plan? Peter, I'll cook for you. My place or yours? Tried to sound bashful, but, my place. I said. Didn't want to scare him away when I was so close. His cheeky reply, sure, and I'll meet the kid too. Susan, you're getting a dad. Months of effort didn't beat 3 days of calling him honey. Abstract flirting doesn't lie. Peter cooking at my place, apron over his broad shoulders and slim waist, surgeon's hands making dinner, too hot to handle. I tried outfit after outfit, even dressed Susan in her finest. Next day, brimming with energy. Felt I'd make or break tonight. Armed with my date armor and man-slaying perfume, unstoppable. Peter's my prize tonight, whether he's a sealed-off gourd or not. Dashed to his hospital after work, heart racing at the thought of his surprise. There he was, ice-cold and handsome, dizzying. Waved excitedly, but froze when I saw a female doctor draping over him playfully. She whispered something and he frowned but didn't pull away. The way they were close said everything. I stood, unsure of what to do. No doctors, Peter and Jasmine? The security guard said suddenly beside me. I nodded, embarrassed. They're quite the surgical dream team. My head buzzed, like a dog fed a mouthful of dog food. I fled before the guard could chat further. Confident in calling Peter honey? It's all talk, pursuing him was my boldest move yet. If I'd known he had a girlfriend, there's no way I'd interfere. The lady doctor was stunning, one glance blinded me. Sleek black hair, smiling eyes under her lashes, a lab coat, effortless beauty. Made my carefully planned outfit look clownish. And from what the guard said, she's a great doc too. My confidence deflated. What was left was heartache, unstoppable as a breached dam. Peter called 5 times before I blocked him. Gorgeous means nothing if you're a cheat. Such a wonderful girlfriend yet entertains my advances, letting me call him honey for 3 days? Trash. I was crying over cocktails at the bar. Endless man-slaying perfume on me drew unwanted attention instead. Seemed my broken-hearted look screamed easy target. Please, I'm picky. A cocktail slid my way. I didn't let him speak. Not interested, I said, frowning. No flirting, no number. A pair of strong fingers tapped the counter. Too many calories in your drink, here's mine. I looked up. Oh gosh, it's Lucas, the personal trainer I've been avoiding for a week. Coach Lucas, I'm feeling down, I didn't mean to ignore your messages. He casually sat next to me. You haven't just ignored me today, right? It's been over a week since you last worked out. I took a sip of the drink Lucas pushed in front of me. What is this? It's bitter and spicy. Seeing my face scrunch up, he laughed and said, rum mixed with sugar-free green tea. How is it? I smirked back, not great. I snapped a pic of the drink and posted it on Twitter, captioning it, bitter, even more than my life. By the end of it, I was so out of it, babbling and pouring my heart out to Lucas. Why? You tell me why. Susan barely has a dad, am I not going through enough? How did I end up losing such a big husband just like that? Lucas, resting his head in his hand, listened patiently with a smile as I went on with my disjointed venting. I was just really sad. The drinks turned into tears. Leaving the bar, I was so wobbly that Lucas had to half carry me to keep me from falling. I wasn't sure if it was the booze, but I swear I saw Peter at the bar's entrance, carrying groceries. I've never seen him look so mad though. Lucas, coach, now everyone I see looks like him. I'm done for. Peter stared at us, clearly not happy. Weren't you supposed to be at home with the kid? Joanna, how many husbands do you have anyway? Lucas, helping me out, asked, you have a kid? I hiccuped in confusion, I have a dog. Then Peter grabbed my other arm, frowning, why'd you drink so much? Let me take you home. I stumbled as he pulled, but Lucas didn't let go. At the bar's door. There was this tug of war going on between Peter and Lucas, each pulling one of my arms. Just because you say you're her boyfriend doesn't make it so. I could say I'm her boyfriend too. You're her trainer, I heard her call you Coach Lucas. But I didn't hear her call you her boyfriend either. Lucas pulled me closer to him. Joanna, is this the husband you mentioned? I stared blankly at the man with groceries, inspecting his face for a while, then shook my head. Nope, mine wore glasses. Lucas smugly raised an eyebrow, challenging Peter to refute that. Peter frowned, pulling out his phone and offering it to Lucas, while raising mine. Joanna, open your eyes. With a grip on my chin, I blinked, and my phone unlocked. Both phones were shown to Lucas, where on mine, a contact read, Peter. See? Peter looked coldly at Lucas, now, will you let her go with me? My ears were ringing, oblivious that this whole argument was about me. Y'all keep arguing. Before I could finish, Peter already pulled me into his arms. Later, I was sort of in and out of it. Seemed like someone was taking care of me real gently. Warm water dabbed my forehead, cooling and soothing. A sweet drink was fed to me, it smelled lovely, though I couldn't place it in my dream. I slept heavily, waking up refreshed. Either way, first time drinking so much without a hangover. I stretched out happily. Weird, why hasn't Susan jumped on the bed yet? Usually, she's bouncing on my face before I wake up. I shuffled to the living room looking for the dog. Only to find Peter curled up, hugging Susan, asleep on the couch. What's he doing here? Memories of last night flooded back. So he's the one who brought me back. He's the one who took care of me all night. I frantically searched my memories for anything regrettable I might have done last night. Susan snuggled in Peter's arms, wagging her tail like a propeller, waking him up. Peter sat up, rubbed his temples, and gave me a gentle smile. You're awake? Does your head hurt? Not really. I nervously glanced between him and myself, relieved to find us both fully clothed. Peter, doctor, last night I didn't. You didn't. I let out a breath. Then he added, "You just cursed at me the whole night." Peter walked over, gently ruffling my hair. Strangely enough, there was a hint of tenderness. Then he headed to the kitchen like it was no big deal, leaving me stunned in place like a statue. On the counter were the remains of what looked like the honey apple water he'd made for me last night. So that's what the sweet smell was. Peter rolled up his sleeves, expertly washing rice and slicing ingredients. Chicken, ginger, scallops. The scene matched what I'd imagined perfectly. Those long, slender fingers, sculpting a masterpiece from mere porridge. Last night, I was worried you might choke if you threw up, so I stayed. Don't worry, I ended up crashing on the couch with Susan. Upon hearing its name, Susan trotted over, rubbing against Peter. He fished out a small piece of chicken breast, crouching down to feed it to her. "Just a moment, I'll make breakfast for Mom first." My heart did a little flip, almost seduced by his charm. "Joanna, snap out of it. This guy has a girlfriend." Susan wagged her tail vigorously, and I whispered to her, "Shoo. Stop wagging, he's not your dad." The night before, I'd shown Susan pictures of Peter for half the night, teaching her to recognize Dad. Our dumb dog usually took forever to learn stuff, but somehow recognized its dad almost instantly. Peter, grinning, said, "You went silent and stood me up for a night out, then failed to recognize me because I didn't have my glasses on?" "You know why I didn't show," I huffed. "But why weren't you wearing glasses?" A pause in the stirring of the porridge. Peter's Adam's apple bobbed. "It's inconvenient." "Inconvenient how?" Peter didn't seem to want to elaborate further. The porridge in the pot began to scent the air. He served a bowl in front of me. I swallowed hard and turned my head away. "I'm not eating." "Not hungry?" "I don't eat food made by someone else's boyfriend. I would rather starve, even die outside, than eat anything made by someone else's boyfriend." Peter seemed amused, as he looked at me with a bit of helplessness and said, "I don't have any other girlfriend but you." "What's that supposed to mean? Since when was I Peter's girlfriend? Isn't that lady doctor his girlfriend?" My mind went blank and I started stammering. What?" Peter had a knowing expression on his face. "You were yelling at me all night yesterday. I'm well aware of the misunderstanding. After you finish the porridge, I'll take you to meet her." The dried scallop and shredded chicken porridge was delicious, and despite my conflicted thoughts, I drank 2 big bowls. But I didn't want to meet that pretty lady doctor. Maybe it's because I felt inferior or she was just too excellent. My gut reaction was to avoid it. I clung to the door, not wanting to go, but Peter ignored my resistance and lifted me like a chick. "I'm the one being wronged here, it's not up to you." On the road, I thought of a million possibilities. Though she might not be Peter's girlfriend, she could be a good friend, a fellow student, or even a first love. Surely, their camaraderie wasn't ordinary. But I was totally caught off guard when I found out the lady doctor, Xialongnu, was actually gay. I wondered how the security guard who shipped them as a couple would feel knowing this. "You're Joanna, right?" The beautiful doctor with long, straight black hair had her hands tucked in the pockets of her white coat and gave me a sweet smile. So cute. Even cuter than on Peter's phone. Peter protectively pulled me behind him. "Don't spout nonsense, and don't get any ideas about her. Peter is so petty." She tilted her head and looked at me. "Hi, I'm Jasmine." She then swiftly added me as a friend, giving me a wink. "Dar. Peter needs to prep for surgery. I'm free today, I'll keep you company." Jasmine had seen many pictures of me on Peter's phone. Those posts I made that were visible only to him on Twitter, turns out Peter saved each one. One day I saw him staring at his phone, looking worried, but it was actually a picture of you calling him honey. It's hard to imagine someone so reserved managed to win over such a cute girl. The day you saw us, he was rushing to see you. I teased him for finally getting a clue, knowing not to wear glasses on a date. I paused, finally catching on to something. "Sis, why shouldn't you wear glasses on a date?" Jasmine glanced at me, stifling a laugh before saying, "You and Peter are such a match." I was puzzled, and she patted my shoulder. "You guys should just be together already." "But honestly, Peter is reliable. After all, just one honey from you, and he nearly picked out a kindergarten for your kids." The misunderstanding with Peter was cleared up. But the developments left me in a weird, mixed mood, almost like I misplayed an abstract game. Surely Peter doesn't think we're in a relationship without holding hands? Such a handsome guy, just to look at. While I was tangled in my thoughts, Peter called and Lucas messaged at the same time. Peter asked what plans I had for the weekend. Lucas asked if I wanted to take swimming lessons this weekend. How convenient is that? I'd recently read an article about a woman who drifted at sea for 36 hours without knowing how to swim, giving me nightmares for 3 days. So I promised myself to learn how to swim again. After listening, Peter paused for a few seconds and then asked, "Is it that, coach?" "How did you know?" "I'd tried learning to swim 3 times without success. Lucas's gym promised a refund if you didn't learn, so I had nothing to lose." Peter said a slow fine, with no emotion, then added after a long pause, "I'll go with you." The next day, when I showed up in my swimsuit at the pool, Lucas was taken aback, as usual, upon seeing the scars all over my body. I'd survived a terrible car accident. My life was saved, but it left me with many scars. And the person who stitched these wounds was Peter. Isn't it a bit scary? I still couldn't face others' stares calmly, even though I knew Lucas meant no harm. No, they're like the thorns of a rose, full of vitality. Lucas smiled and extended his hand, signaling that he would guide me into the water. Peter walked up slowly before me and gave Lucas's hand a pat. "Yeah, you have good eyes. My suturing skills are top-notch here." Lucas awkwardly grasped at air, his previously gentle expression turning cold. "What are you doing here? Did you sign up?" "A companion." Lucas snickered, "I let my guard down that night." "You're an unregistered companion, aren't you?" Peter shot back with a cold laugh, "That's still ahead of you." I held back laughter, quietly watching the drama unfold, 2 men on the brink of conflict in front of me. Suddenly, I kind of understood royalty. Jealousy and rivalry sure make for good entertainment, huh? Peter had pale skin, Lucas with a tan. Both had broad shoulders and narrow waists, sculpted with chest and abdominal muscles, distinct as walls. Fresh out of the shower, water still dripping from them, they started warming up in front of me, water dancing down their V-lines. I swallowed. They disagreed on which swimming stroke to teach me. Lucas wanted to teach me the breaststroke, easy and effortless. Peter preferred the freestyle, fast and impressive. It looked like I was about to get caught in a tug of war again, and Lucas suggested, "How about this, we race a lap? Whoever is faster, Joanna will listen to them." Peter made no objections. "Ahem, isn't anyone going to ask me? I've failed 3 times learning to swim. Does the stroke really matter? My biggest issue is not, drowning." Even so, I joined in the countdown, 3, 2, 1, because who doesn't love a good showdown? Especially when it involves shirtless, competitive men. At the call, Lucas dived in with a splash, but Peter stayed still. I turned to him, eyes wide, "Why didn't you jump?" Peter shrugged with indifference and raised an eyebrow, "I never agreed to a race." After Lucas finished a lap, Peter was already coaching me on kicking. "You." I could tell Lucas was about to swear, but he held it in. Without even turning his head, Peter casually said, "All's fair in war." While watching their fierce competition was entertaining, the training was exhausting for me. Neither Peter nor Lucas would back down, so I ended up learning both. After half a day, I was worn out and barely learned a bit of dog paddle. And before I knew it, I swallowed a mouthful of water. The next second, 2 heads popped up in front and behind me. Chest to chest, I was practically carried to the pool's edge by them. I've never been treated like this in my life. I noticed an auntie who had been swimming earlier was now just watching us. I was worried she might inquire at the gym about personal swim trainers. With my face burning red, I decisively decided to end today's training. Sometimes, you really shouldn't bite off more than you can chew. You'll get indigestion. Like right now. Lucas had a carefree grin on his face. But Peter's face had turned dark. On the way back, Peter didn't say a word to me. The tension was almost palpable. I hunched my shoulders like an ostrich. This time, unlike before, Peter didn't just drop me at my building, he followed me to the elevator. I was curious, aren't you going home? Peter calmly replied, nah, I'm not in a rush. Just checking on the kid. Upstairs, I unlocked the door and walked in. As soon as I changed my shoes and turned around, Peter pinned me to the foyer wall. A moment ago, Susan, who was spinning around for attention, quickly retreated to her corner when she saw this. Even the dog sided against me. With his long arms propped against the wall, he had me trapped in a little space. His presence overwhelmed me. I was incredibly nervous. Dar. Peter, you. What did you call me? He looked down, scanning my lips, his voice low and raspy. Not gonna call me honey anymore? My heart skipped a beat. Didn't you say to switch it up? Peter smirked, now you're listening to me? I pressed against the wall as if being punished, but my heart was racing like crazy. Peter looked down at me, his gaze deepening with seriousness I could clearly see. I'm usually busy, not online much, so I don't get all that abstract stuff you mentioned. Things you might joke about, I'm serious. I like you. To me, you've already been my girlfriend. Was this a confession? I was too nervous to move. Peter was so close I could feel his slightly rushed breathing. Why else would we have dinner dates, watch movies? I whispered back, friends can do that too. So what? Did you have dinner and watch movies with that coach too? Then, like he remembered something, he said ominously, oh, you guys even drank together. I don't know why, but tonight, Peter was different. I've always thought he was like an ice-cold fortress, distant and aloof. But now, Peter radiated an intense, possessive energy. I felt like prey being stalked, every hair on my neck stood up. Joanna, I might be boring, but I'm not stupid. That coach likes you, doesn't he? I felt a bit guilty, my eyes darted around, maybe, kinda. I admitted Lucas was friendly towards me. But until today, I thought it was just Jim's sales tactics. Peter leaned closer, until all I saw was my own reflection in his eyes. I was going to take it slow, but now I've changed my mind. When he kissed me, it clicked why he didn't wear glasses that day. So he planned to kiss me back then too. Holding the back of my neck, he gently deepened the kiss, soft and slow, coaxing me like a hunter with its prey, waiting for me to lower my guard and fall. Then completely capturing my lips. Maybe swimming had drained most of my energy. I melted, leaning against the wall with no other support, so I wrapped my arms around Peter. His body went tense, his breaths heavy, as he lifted me up with one arm. Hold tight. Peter's voice was hoarse beyond belief. He carried me to the couch, searing kisses tracing my neck and collarbone, tingling waves coursing through me. I'd never seen Peter so out of control. Being a doctor, he's usually composed, unflappable even in the face of chaos. But now, the calm lake had erupted into a raging storm, about to engulf me completely. Suddenly, an urgent beeping sound broke through. A sliver of reason came back to me, Peter, Peter. But Peter either didn't hear or ignored me, silencing me with another kiss. I tried to push, but he pinned me back down. Could it be the hospital trying to reach you? It sounds urgent. Ignore it. Both my hands pinned, he leaned over me. Lost in a blur of heated breaths, the beeping persisted. I finally seized a chance and grabbed his wrist. That's when I saw his smartwatch, heart rate abnormal. Bracing himself above me, Peter's ears were fire red, breathing uneven, his eyes boring into mine, filled with mild frustration. I bit my lip, pointed apologetically at his watch. Dar. Peter, your heart rate's off. Safety first. It was like being snapped out of a trance. We sat in silence on the couch, the air a bit awkward. I stole sidelong glances at Peter's frustrated face. On the third try, he finally spoke, albeit a bit sulkily. "Those things you said, you don't say them to anyone else, do you?" "What things?" "Joanna, don't play dumb." I couldn't help but chuckle softly. "No one else, I only said that to you." A faint smile finally surfaced on his face. He lightly tapped my nose. "You better not." My hand was held by him, and Peter gently caressed my wrist, where a light brown scar twisted across. There was one thing that Coach said that was spot on. It seemed full of life. Like a bond. The first time I saw Peter, I thought I was about to die. The bus had tumbled off the hillside, trapping me inside, with shards of glass and broken metal piercing my body. Adrenaline made my heart race terrifyingly fast, and the word flashback suddenly came to mind. Blood was everywhere, but I didn't feel pain. I watched as one by one, passengers were rescued from the bus, while I remained stuck. Despair was about to consume me. Am I going to die, doctor? Am I going to die? With tears in my voice, my blood-stained hand grabbed onto the doctor's sleeve. I don't want to die, I'm so scared. The young doctor looking after me held my hand back. You won't die, trust me. Your injuries aren't life-threatening, they just look scary. At that time, Peter looked rough, covered in sweat and dust, but it couldn't hide his handsome face. I struggled to lift my head to look at him, and the way he looked at me, it was like a light breaking through all my despair. Really? Don't lie to me. You're handsome, so I believe you. A promise Peter made was an everlasting one. His voice was calm, bringing me comfort in those desperate times. Peter stayed by my side as I got more and more drowsy, even the firefighters cutting the steel frame became a lullaby. My hand was tightly held by his. He asked me a lot of questions, said a lot of things. But I later forgot all of them. I had a very long dream. In the dream, I became pieces. An angel descending from the sky squatted beside my shattered self, carefully piecing me back together. In the dream, I could never see the angel's face clearly, only remember the light emanating from him, bringing warmth and safety I had never felt before. When I woke from the coma, the first face I saw was Peter's. What a magnificent face. Who knew angels were that handsome? At that moment, I thought, thank goodness I'm alive. Gotta date someone like that before I die. Good news, I did. Bad news, he's quite the jealous type. I set my profile picture as our photo and changed his name to Honey in my phone. I wore the matching ring he gave me on my middle finger all the time. I thought I was giving Peter all the security he needed. Who would have guessed his jealousy was just starting? To avoid misunderstandings, Lucas was no longer my personal trainer. But can someone tell me why Lucas became Peter's personal trainer instead? When I saw Peter at the gym, I thought I was seeing things and nearly fell off the treadmill. Jasmine appeared behind me, startling me yet again. She handed me an iced Americano, whispering, I'm here for the drama. Seeing my look of confusion and terror, she patted my shoulder. What were you watching last night? I thought for a moment, the Olympics, men's swimming. Did you go starry-eyed? Of course, who doesn't get dazzled watching muscle-bound dudes swim? I think I might have squealed a few times. What else did I say? Oh, Coach Lucas nearly made the national team too. A bolt of realization struck me. No wonder Peter quietly said goodnight and went to sleep last night. I thought he was just tired from surgery. So, he's gotten jealous again, hasn't he? Jasmine raised an eyebrow, leaned in closer, and said, Peter had a grim face all day. Before leaving work, he asked me why girls with boyfriends still love looking at muscle-bound dudes. My eyes widened. I asked her, and what did you say? Jasmine gave me a mischievous smile. I said it's 'cause their boyfriend might be weak. Such a troublemaker, enjoying others' drama. I watched in apprehension and awe as Peter completely outshone everyone with his surgeon-turned-swimmer physique. I have great taste. Nothing weak here. He's all strength. Check out those amazing abs. Back home, I kept the same worshipful, infatuated smile on my face. Peter came out post-shower, taking the TV remote from my hand. Have you watched enough for today? Sensing danger, I dove under the covers. No more, no more, sleep now, sleep time. Peter lifted the covers and leaned over me. Weren't you super interested last night? Who was yelling another man's name at midnight? Did I? Honest, I just mentioned him in passing. I'll just pretend I forgot. Peter pressed my hand to the sides of my head, fingers intertwined tightly. Let's settle today's score first. 12 times, that was how many times your eyes wandered to Lucas. And Jasmine, she touched your shoulder 3 times and took a sip of your Americano. I objected. How does Jasmine count? Why doesn't she? Her type is girls like you. Rounded up to 20 times. I was shocked. 20 times? What kind of rounding is that? Remembering the painful lesson from spilling the jealousy jar the other day, I struggled hard. 20 times, it sounds like a drill machine. My struggles were fruitless, both my hands were raised above my head. Peter effortlessly pinning them with one hand. He smiled charmingly, his free hand pinching my chin. What are you thinking about, huh? His lips moved close to my ear, sparking a tremor. Peter lowered his voice, laughing huskily. It's the number of times you'll beg for mercy later. Remember to call me by the right name. The kiss finally landed. Like wildfire engulfing me, igniting every trembling inch of my body. His kiss fell on each of my scars, precious and gentle. Then the storm hit, leaving wet flowers scattered everywhere. I think I begged for mercy way more than 20 times. I thought I was so bold when I sarcastically called him honey before. Now here I was, crying pathetically, calling out honey. What goes around comes back around. As dawn broke, the storm finally calmed. In my drowsiness, I heard his voice. Joanna, tell me you love me. You love me. From behind, Peter's soft laughter came. He held me completely in his arms. The familiar warmth and safety enveloped me. Yes. I love you. Epilogue. Peter, of course, remembers Joanna. Because it was the first lie Peter told as a doctor. When Joanna was trapped in the bus wreckage. She was teetering on the edge of life and death. The injuries weren't fatal, but there were too many wounds. The blood loss looked seriously dangerous. You could say that at that moment, Joanna was running purely on adrenaline. If she relaxed and fell asleep, she might never wake up again. Rescue time was uncertain. Peter wasn't much of a talker, but he chatted with her to keep her alert. At first, the young girl still had some energy. She would ask various questions. Doctor, will these wounds on my body be stitched up ugly? Doctor, will there be scars? Will they be scary? Doctor, I haven't even dated anyone. I don't want to die. Peter patiently answered each one, no. They won't be scary. You won't die. During the long wait for rescue, Joanna finally started to struggle and got drowsy. She spoke less and less, her eyelids getting heavier. Peter had to take over asking questions. He wasn't experienced in talking to girls, so he just kept the conversation going. What's your favorite color? Yellow, I guess. What's your favorite food? My mom's braised pork. Peter, I'm a bit tired. Peter's heart tightened. The makeshift bandages were still leaking blood. Her face was as pale as a sheet. From the moment he became a doctor, Peter understood that saving lives was a mission. Personal emotions had to be set aside. Indecision and sentimentality couldn't make a good doctor. Peter, a surgeon, was usually cold-hearted. But he felt anxiety rare for him. He wanted to hold on to her, to keep her alive. Don't sleep, how about I sing for you? The weak girl managed a smile. Sure. Their clasped hands squeezed tighter. Peter cleared his throat. I'm lucky to love you, the rest of my life is for you. Fortunate destiny arranged for us to see the flowers together. Fortunate this dialogue never changed over the long road. As long as you're here, my life is full of anticipation. Finally, the firefighters finished cutting through. Joanna was safely rescued. The girl on the stretcher was unconscious, but her hand stayed firmly held by Peter. I'm really good at stitching, don't worry. If the scar looks bad, come find me. I'll take care of it. Joanna didn't hear any of that, of course. Later on, Peter often thought about their first meeting. It felt like from the very beginning, the story was meant to be. He needed to take responsibility, it turned out, for Joanna's entire life.